Hi everyone, welcome. It's Marguerite again with another tutorial from Wreath by Marguerite. This is the newest addition to the shop for kits for the storm door style wreath. It's a bee, bright and sunny for the spring and summer. It's a great Mother's Day gift as well. Get you through the spring. It's done in the storm door style once again. And if you're asking what a storm door style wreath is, it's a wreath that can fit behind your storm door or screen door without being crushed. How that's accomplished is by doing a flatter wreath, thinner wreath. It's also called a pancake wreath, a thin wreath, a slim wreath. It comes in under 4 inches, usually around 3.5 inches in depth. What is that important for? Well, if you have a storm door or a screen door, you have 4 inches of space in between the storm door or screen door and your regular door to display something. If you were to try to put a traditional wreath, those are between 7 and 12 inches deep if you've got those big, beautiful, fluffy bows and such. And it just absolutely will crush it, or you won't be able to close the door at all. I only recommend those outside if you have a protected outside entryway. Otherwise, this is a great addition. It's protected. It's not going to get wet or blown away if it's behind the door. It's perfect for any situation. You can also poof it up a little bit more like it is today so that you can display it in the home as well. A lot of people do that. So let's get started in making this beautiful new wreath. Okay, let's get started. First we're going to go over the supplies, and then we will go over the tools that you'll need to provide to make this project. In your kit, you will receive a 4-ring wire frame that is 14 inches. It will already have 12 pipe cleaners attached to it. If this is something you end up doing on your own, you're going to want to make sure that you have a wire frame that has 4 rings and 6 crossbars, first of all. And then on rings 1 and 2, the outside 2 rings, you're going to attach your pipe cleaners at the crossbar. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you're going to put on ring 3 and 4 another set of 6 pipe cleaners. Make sure that you do it snugly so that they don't move back and forth on the ring. So on 3 and 4, you're going to put another 6 pipe cleaners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for the sake of the project, I always push the inside ring pipe cleaners into the center so they stay out of the way while we're working on the wreath. You're going to receive a sign. In this case, it's a waterproof sign. And in this case, since it's a waterproof sign, you can't put staples through it. So what I've attached for you are cable tie mounts with DAP rapid fuse behind them, and then hot glue gun around the cable tie mounts to secure them while everything's drying up. If you're doing this on your own and you're using this kind of sign, you're going to want to prep this before you start the wreath so it has plenty of time to dry. You're taking 2 pipe cleaners, cutting them in half and putting them on the cable tie mounts, okay? Then you're going to receive 12 to 13 pieces of deco mesh. This is a deco poly mesh that is all plastic, so it's definitely weather resistant. It's going to be cut in a 20-inch length with 10-inch across this way. So that means our center's 5 inches. Okay, so 12 or 13 pieces of that. You're going to receive 12 to 13 pieces of the 2.5-inch black ribbon, 12 to 13 pieces of the honeycomb, 1.5-inch wide, and 12 to 13 pieces of the bee with the honeycomb and leaves. They're all cut at a 12-inch length. They're folded that way for you, so all you have to do is cut on both ends and you're ready to go. And then for the display tutorial wreath that I complete today, I'm using these buttons, and I'll show you when we get to that point how to attach these. They will only come with the finished wreath that I make during the tutorial. If this is something that you want to add to your kit, these either came from Hobby Lobby or Buttons Galore and More, which is an online shop. I can look up and put that in the description, okay? You're also going to get written direction for everything I'm going to show you except for the button piece. You can write all your extra notes on that to use to follow along in the video, and you'll get a thank you card. So feel free to read through that as you're watching the video if you're purchasing a kit. That way a lot of it will make sense to you once you pair them up. The tools that you'll need to provide to make this wreath are a ruler, a chip clip or some kind of clip like this of some sort, a pair of good scissors that you use for cutting ribbon, and things like that. You don't want to use dull scissors. These are Fiskars. That's my favorite brand. Some clippers to clip the pipe cleaners and other things. A dowel, a pen or a pencil, something thin like this for twisting the pipe cleaner, which you'll understand when we get to the end of the wreath. And I use this plastic embroidery needle to help pull these pipe cleaners through the wreath and to the back of the frame when I'm attaching it. You'll see me use that. Today, I don't know if I'll use this, but I always tell everybody to have it just in case. So I'm going to pull all these extra tools out of the way. Right now we need the clip and we need the ruler. We won't be doing the ribbon yet, so let me put that aside. When I say 12 to 13 pieces, you need 12 pieces of ribbon and you need 12 pieces of mesh because there's 12 pipe cleaners on here. But I put a little extra just in case you make a mistake. That's why it's important to follow the directions exactly with your first creation, because you don't want to make a mistake. There's not a lot of extra product in there. We're trying to keep the costs down for you that way. So the first thing we're going to do is attach 6 pieces of deco mesh to the base. And like I said earlier, we do the outside edges first. So we want, let me move this over here. We want to have the pipe cleaners horizontal directly in front of us like this, because you're going to put the mesh in vertically, okay? Now whether it's because I'm left-handed or not, I am more comfortable turning the wreath form a little bit to the side so that when I add the mesh, I'm not contorting my body at all. You want to be comfortable while you're doing this. This is fun. You want to keep it as fun as possible. Find the position that suits you the best. But I've found in teaching in classes in person, when I have the students put the wreath in front of them, the frame in front of them like this, they're more likely to get that mesh and in the ribbon in their correct direction. Seem to be a little tongue-tied today. All right, so what we're going to do is take that first piece of mesh and put it on the table on the cutting mat, curl side down. Always curl side down, long ways, 20 inches this way, 10 inches this way, and we're going to take our ruler and measure to find our center, which in this case it's 10-inch mesh, so 5 inches is our center, because we're now going to ruffle this to put it into the pipe cleaner. That's 5 inches there. This is a solid color ribbon, so it's more important than ever to make sure that you have a visual at the other end that you're gathering towards, so you can stay as close to the center when you're gathering as possible. This is a denser weave, so it's harder to see through it. Otherwise, I would recommend, if you have a cutting mat, to use the lines in the cutting mat also to help you stay down the center. This is what you will need, a cutting mat, to cut this mesh so you don't ruin your table. That would not be good. So back to the mesh. We've measured 5 inches here. It's 10 inches across, 20 inches this way. So now on this end we have to find our center, which is 5 inches too. If you don't have a ruler, another trick you can do is just fold your mesh in half to find your center that way. If for some reason you don't have one. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this mesh and use our fingers to crawl up the mesh to the other end where the clip is to gather the mesh into our thumbs and our forefingers. Loosely but tight gathers. Just crawl all the way up. I will show you a little different technique as we get through the tutorial that I find more comfortable than this. So we get up here, we gather the mesh into one hand in the index finger and thumb, loosely, because we want to be able to adjust the mesh if it's not in a perfect circle, or as close to a perfect circle. So that's good. So now that we're going to bring the form here, we're going to get our fingers like that, Put that mesh in there vertically. Bring our pipe cleaners up, and we're going to twist really tight and really low as we can one time, and then do it 2 to 3 more times, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the cut edge on the outside and put it over the cut edge on the inside of the circle. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. The reason we do that is to protect all the edges that are cut as much as possible. This keeps them from being out in the open where they can catch on things. There's no such thing as no fray, but this will minimize it for you. The less you handle it, and the more you can conceal the cut edge, the better. Now this is obviously not a perfect circle. So if that happens, I always recommend to hold it from the pipe cleaners and grab it from the inside next to the pipe cleaners to bring it out. You never grab mesh from the ends and edges. The reason being is if you do that, this pattern will be changed. And that's not pretty. So, there's that one. There's that. Or you can take it completely out of the pipe cleaner and regather it, but I recommend that you try to do it this way so you're not handling the mesh as much. See how that's still a little far out? They don't match up. This edge doesn't match up to this one. I'm going to grab this from underneath and bring it out just a touch more, and that should take care of the problem. Okay. Your ultimate goal with the mesh is to make sure that you have a nice, smooth, circular edge on the outside, because the inside edge is not going to be seen. It'll be hidden under all the other layers and ribbon and signs and all that stuff. Now, when I make these wreaths, I do the mesh in every other pipe cleaner. That's the pattern I use so that I can keep it as short as possible, since it's technically a storm door wreath. If you're not planning to use this behind a storm door or a screen door, you can leave it as fluffy as possible. But I find that this gives it nice dimension, consistency, and a pattern when I do it this way. So I'm going to skip that pipe cleaner and come over here to this pipe cleaner, spread it out so it's ready for me when I'm ready to put the mesh in. And I go on to the next piece, curl side down, put that ruler down here unless you use the folding technique or the cutting mat. Find your 5 inches. This clip needs to be replaced. I keep saying that and I don't do it. Turn it around. Find your center with the ruler, 5 inches, and start gathering into your thumb. Nice small gathers as you creep with your fingers up the top. Okay? Trying to stay as close to the center as possible. That is why we have this clip at the very top, to help stay centered visually as you're gathering. And that one came out a little better. Holding it loosely in your index finger and thumb. Get that circle. Come over here to the pipe cleaner. Stick that in there vertically to your horizontal pipe cleaners. Bring the pipe cleaners up. Super tight and low at once. Don't be afraid of it. And then I do it 2 more times. Okay, and then I put it up in the air so it's out of the way, usually. So I'm going to take my outside cut edge over my inside cut edge. And take my outside cut edge over my inside cut edge. I don't know if I did it with that one, but it curled under on its own a little bit better. Mesh has a mind of its own, I can tell you that right now. And it's like Velcro, it will stick to everything. So also make sure you wear short sleeves and nothing that's really nice, because you'll end up probably snagging it with the mesh. It sticks to everything. So this came out pretty close. Grab this a little bit more. This side's a little bit off. I'm going to grab it from the center underneath at the top. And then curl those edges in, because we want to help it keep in place. Skip this one again, and then go to this one. You'll find that I do this with all of the wreaths, including the ribbon. So we're now taking another piece of mesh, curl side down, measuring 5 inches across, clipping it because that's your center. Bring it up, turn it around. Find your 5 inches using your ruler, gathering into your thumbs, creeping up the center as close as you can as possible. the way to the clip. Knock that clip out. Loosely holding it in your thumb and forefinger, trying to make sure that that is as rounded as possible and even on the edges. Bringing it vertically into your horizontal pipe cleaners. You can see this piece has got a little fray on it. I try to cut the fray off as I go. So tight and low, 1, 2, 3. I saw a piece of fray. That one didn't need to be cut. I thought I saw one there. There it is. Make sure you have a trash can as well. I always remember that after the fact. Of course, in my studio, I have a huge trash can, so I don't have to think about that. Or you can just push all your trash to the side into a pile. Try to keep things as neat as possible so that you don't have a big chaotic mess. Because like I said, this mesh will attach itself to everything. So anything that's in its path will become part of your wreath temporarily. Make sure you have at least 3 feet of workspace so that you're not cramped and uncomfortable when you're making your project. I'm just adjusting this, and then I'm going to turn the outside edge down. So now we have the first 3 put in. We're going to go back and do the other 3. Oh, there's another piece on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to put that pipe cleaner horizontal. Another piece of mesh. Curl side down always. Get our clip and our ruler back. See, everything ends up as part of the project. 5 inches is your center. Clip that there. Turn it around. Find your 5-inch center. Gather it into your thumbs, working from the bottom to the top towards that clip, trying to stay as close to the center of the piece of mesh as possible so you're having to do less adjusting. Take your time. There's no hurry. This is fun time. Hold it loosely so you can get that edge nice and rounded and even. I think I'm going to do more of it when I get it in the clip. Okay, so bring that in vertically to the horizontal pipe cleaners. Nice and tight and low once, and then 2 more times. Keeping it nice and low because this will be a storm door wreath. There's some fray there. Where did it hide? There's. Okay, so now we're going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside edge over the inside cut edge, and now you have pieces on either side that will be laying on top of. Turn your edges under, making sure you've got a circular pattern on the outside. I'm going to adjust that a little bit more so it's more in line with the 2 pieces outside. And now it's got even more to attach itself to, so it shouldn't go anywhere now. Okay. Put those pipe cleaners across horizontally. Get another piece of mesh. This is very, very plasticky in its feel. There's a lot of mesh that's got fabric in it too, which I will be using here and there. I'll let you know what kind of mesh I use each time so you have an idea. There's so many out there now. So curl side down, ruler, 5 inches. Clip it there. Turn it around. There's 5 inches. This time I'm going to do that technique where I cut it, fold it in half. See, they're trying to join the party over here. Hanging on to everything. Okay, so there's 5 inches. I use that technique a lot more now on my solid colored mesh than using a ruler. It's one less tool to have, and it's very accurate. Get that in there. Get this nice and round. Holding it loosely. Okay, let's come over here and put this in vertically to our horizontal pipe cleaner. This is a very thick mesh too, so it'll probably be closer to 3.5, maybe 4 inches deep when we get done. Because of that, it is definitely thick, but I like that. It also makes it less transparent. Okay, let me take a look at this. Yeah, that one needs to go this way. Hold that there. Let's see, how does this look out here? This needs to be pulled out here just a touch. This isn't perfect up here. This is too far out, so we gotta bring that in a little more. I could probably just take it out of the pipe cleaners. It'd probably be easier, huh? Okay. Because it's in there tight. Alright, let's curl this under. This piece is being stubborn. We're going to take it out and do it again. See? I'm not going to clip it because I know where the center is now, because it's got a little change in the pattern. And this is that other technique I was talking about. I use one hand to hold at the top of the mesh and one hand to do the gathering. Let's see if this helps. Okay. I forgot to spread out the pipe cleaner. See why it's important to do before you get started? Alright, in we go. Tight and low, 1 time, then 2 more times. That looks like it might be better. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. How's that look? Still gotta do a slight adjustment. That's okay. I think that, yeah, that looks good. All right, let's move on to the last one on this layer. Piece number 6. Piece right on the edge. Let's get that out of the way. Use this ruler. Measure out 5 inches and clip. Don't forget, always make sure the mesh is curl side down. Turn it around. Find your center, which is 5 inches, and gather up the center. One hand on each side of the center. Gathering with your fingers into your thumbs, going all the way to the top. Using the clip as your gauge. Visual gauge to stay on the center. Hold it loosely in your thumb and forefinger. Make any adjustments you need to make sure it's nice and round in total. Bring it over to the pipe cleaner that popped back up. Put the mesh into the pipe cleaners vertically. Pipe cleaner was horizontal, nice and tight and low, 1 time, 2 times, 3. Then you're going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, outside cut edge, I can talk, over the inside cut edge, and then curl the outside edges, making sure it's nice and round. Cut any frays if you come across them, it's less to do later. And we've finished the first layer of mesh, okay? Make sure everything looks as you want it to. This ends up being about a 23-inch wreath, okay? All right, so now we're gonna set that aside and bring the ribbon over. It's time to cut all the ribbon. We cut all of the ribbon at the same time. That way, when we get to the top layer, we can just speed on through it. There are 12 pipe cleaners. Therefore, there are 12 pieces of ribbon for each style ribbon that you use. In this wreath, we are using 3 ribbons. You can either use 3 of the 1.5-inch wide ribbons, or 2 of the 1.5-inch ribbons and 1 of the 2.5-inch ribbons, or just do 2.5-inch ribbons. But in this kit, you have 2 1.5s and 1 2.5. And the way that we're going to set this up is we are going to put our favorite ribbon on the top when we put it into the base. And I consider this my favorite. Now you can either break it up with the 2.5-inch together in the middle, or you can do it with the honeycomb next. So this would be on top, this would be second, and this would be on the bottom. It's nice to break it up with the solid, but since this has so much yellow and the base has so much yellow, I'm going to put the black up against the yellow. That way it doesn't blend in so much and you see all the pretty ribbon. Okay, so in this case in front of you, you see 3 bundles of, I put 13 in the bundles, so you have 1 spare in case you make a mistake. Sometimes you'll get 2 bundles of each because of where it lies in the roll of ribbon. If it's towards the end of the roll of ribbon, you might get 2 bundles. You might even get 3 bundles of the same. But you will get 12 to 13 pieces of ribbon in each design that you're going to use in the kit. They're all pre-folded for you, so that makes it a lot easier for you too. But if you're doing it on your own, you can use a ruler if you don't have the other tools that are more advanced to just wrap the ribbon around till you get the number of pieces you need, because the ruler is 12 inches. So that makes it easy and perfect. You don't have to go out and buy any special tools. Just like everything else you have, nothing's a special tool. There are things you can use for other things as well and not have, you know, a tremendous investment, and it's something you most likely already have around the house. But always, 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 always have good scissors that you don't use for everything in the house, because you don't want to jack up your ribbon. Okay, so now we're going to cut all this ribbon for the entire wreath. It's folded, and you want to find the center of your pack. And I always put a finger in the middle so I know where my center is. And I take the ribbon and I cut it at the fold on one end, and then I cut it at the fold on the other end. And you'll see that you have 2 piles, one with the finished side of the ribbon facing up and another pile that's got the finished side of the ribbon facing down. So we're going to flip all of these. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold them all with the finished side on the inside directly in half to get it ready for cutting. So you'll do this with all 36 pieces of ribbon plus the extra for backup. I really, really highly recommend that you follow this pattern of prepping the ribbon, because then that way you're not trying to cut a bunch of pieces at once and cut them incorrectly and then have not enough to finish your project. If you do them one at a time, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. When you become more advanced, if you're not already, then I would recommend, if you feel comfortable doing multiple pieces of ribbon at the same time, and you don't have to do this. I also do this because if you get everything prepped in the bundles for these ribbon tails and you have to walk away for some reason, you can come back and not have to worry about what you've done and what you haven't done. So that was all of the bee ribbon with the finished side on the inside, folded exactly in half, like that. Then we're going to take the honeycomb ribbon, find its center, put one finger in there to separate the sides, cut at one end all the way through all the pieces, and cut at the other end, make 2 piles. Whoop. So this is the finished side facing up, and this side of the pile has the finished side facing down, so I'm going to turn it over and we're going to fold all of those in half again with the finished side on the inside of the ribbon. This is also how I prep all my kits ahead of time for the busy season. I get everything cut, folded, and prepped so that when I need to make a bunch at a time, which I call batching, B-A-T-C-H-ing, I can whiz through making a wreath of the storm door style in 30 minutes if I'm focused and not tired. I would say comfortably 45 minutes max once they're made. And then when we get into the busier seasons, which is the fall for makers that sell, I do a lot of craft shows. Time is of the essence. So now that design is finished. Again, the finished side is on the inside of the fold. Now this is a solid color ribbon. So if you're looking at it, it really doesn't look much different from the front and back, but there is a finished side to it. So that's why I do the folding right away, so that I don't walk away and then come back and play the guessing game as to whether it's the front or the back of the ribbon. Some of it's very apparent with the seaming on the side where the wire is, but not always. So when I wrap the ribbon around the ruler or the tool I have, you've got half your pile with the finished side facing you and half your pile with the finished side facing the table. So again, I find the center with my finger or hand and I cut at the top through all the pieces, then I cut at the bottom through all of the pieces, and I've got the two piles again, and for the most part they look the same. This one's a little more apparent, so I know that this is the back and this is the front, but I'm going to turn these over onto that pile so I know that the finished side is up and immediately fold it. Okay, exactly in half, making sure I have a nice crease at the bottom. That's important because you need to know where the center of your ribbon is, just like the mesh, for placing it into the pipe cleaners on the wreath. Fold that in half. Fold that in half. So getting these all folded. Getting them all folded. And then we're going to go back and give the ribbon a little more dimension by adding what's called a dovetail. It's either called a dovetail, a ducktail, or just a V. All right, we're going to start with the solid color ribbon, and we are going to prep all of our ribbon. We're going to take, this is the important part to keep from making a mistake, you're going to take that folded side with the creases, and it's going to be facing the table. You're going to take the side that's cut, and you're going to make sure that your ribbon is evenly folded. Take the wired edge on one side and fold it to the wired edge on the other side, creating a fold here. And you're going to take your scissors and cut from that fold to the top of the wire edge at about a 45-degree angle. Cut, fold it open, and then you have your dovetail. Okay? You're going to do this 36 times. So, I'm going to cut folded edge on the table, wires to each other, facing the ceiling with the cut edge, cut from the fold to the wire. Okay. Crease on the table, fold in half, wire to wire, cut at a 45-degree angle from the fold to the wires. Okay. I'm going to get a piece over here and show you a couple of mistakes that can be made before we can go any further. So this is just spare product. So I've taken the crease, put it on the table, and I've cut it in half. Let me cut this off. Okay, you're going to fold it in half. And I'm going to accidentally, on purpose, fold it where it's not even. Cut from the fold to the wire, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but this V is much smaller than this one. But if you happen to do that in hurriedness, just refold it in half, making sure the wire is correct now so there's a gap there. You're going to ever so slightly cut below that gap from the fold to the wired edge, and it fixes that, okay? The other thing that can happen if you're not careful, cut that excess off. Whoop, flying ribbon. Try to keep your workspace clean, otherwise it just gets crazy. So you keep it folded in half. You got that crease down on the table. You're gonna make sure you're folded wire to wire. But say you accidentally or intentionally, I don't know what way, it has to be accidental. Cut it way down here instead of up here. Cut it way down here. And you're gonna get this super deep, super deep bead. That's a no-no too, because what happens is when you cut a V that deep, once it gets on the wreath, that ribbon will start curling under like this. But again, you can fix that mistake if you make it by going back and folding it wire to wire, crease on the table, start where you started there, but go at a more aggressive angle, and it fixes it, okay? So that is the most common mistakes people make when cutting ribbon. And that's why when I teach, I have everyone do one piece at a time in repetitive motion. So crease side down, fold in half, wire to wire, cut. Crease side down, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire, ready to go. This is a little wire sticking out. When you're cutting the ribbon, sometimes the ribbon will pop out a little bit. You can either just cut the edges off if you've already made your V's. If not, make your V and it'll go away. Okay. Crease side down. Cut from the fold to the wire. Crease side down, fold, wire to wire, cut from the fold at an angle. Crease side down. Okay, I'm going to show you another mistake. If you don't remember to do crease side down, let me cut that off. If you don't remember to put it crease side down and you put it crease side up, you fold it in half, you're going to have two pieces of ribbon. And we don't want that because that we can't recover from. So be attentive when you're cutting your ribbon to make sure that crease side is down. Fold it wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Crease side down, fold wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Crease side down, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Okay, so the black is out of the way. We'll do the honeycomb. Crease side down, fold wire to wire, cut. See, I wasn't cautious enough. See how that's smaller? I'm gonna fold it. I didn't have the wire right. Cut just a hair lower than the shorter side, and it's fixed. Crease side down, wire to wire, fold in half, cut from the fold to the wire. Crease side down. Another tip for you. You get little wires and fuzz and everything on your workspace. Take a handheld Swifter. It gets all that stuff up and sweep it into a trash can. Crease side down. Fold. Cut. Crease side down, fold, cut, crease side down, fold, cut, crease side down, fold, cut, crease side down, make sure that's nice and even, fold, wire to wire, cut from the fold. Try to clean as you go, you'll be less frustrated. Crease side down, fold, cut, crease side down, fold, cut, crease side down, fold wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire at a 45-degree angle. Okay, so that's that. And that's now the final design. Crease side down, cut from the fold to the wire, crease side down, fold wire to wire, cut from the fold to the top of the wire, crease side down, fold wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire, crease side down, fold wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire, crease side down, fold, cut, crease side down, fold, cut, crease side down, fold, cut, excuse me. It's the springish kind of weather, so I'm starting to feel allergies coming on. Crease side down, fold and cut, crease side down, fold, 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 cut. Okay, let's get this track on. This is where a Swifter would be great because there's quite a few little pieces of metal from the ribbon sitting on the table. Last thing you want to do is get them in your foot or in your hand. Okay, so now we're going to make our ribbon tail bundles. Remember I said that my favorite was going to be on top, and that's also why I chose black pipe cleaners on this so it would blend in. So this is my favorite. So it goes first. So I'm going to layer that inside of the honeycomb and then inside of the black. Then that way, when we put the ribbon on the wreath, it's going to look like this. Okay? So we pre-make the bundles so that it's easy and ready to go when we are. Bees, honeycomb, black. Bees, honeycomb, and then black. But remember, I said whatever order you want them to be in on your wreath is your decision, not mine. This is just a guide. This is how I want to do this one. Like I said, there are a lot of times where I put the solid color ribbon in between the patterns. But in this case, because of what I've chosen and the color of the mesh, I don't think that that sits well with me because the honeycomb won't be as visible, in my opinion. Put that in there like that. And then when we get all these bundles made, we'll double check to make sure we have at least 12 bundles, because if we don't, we have an issue. We have to have 12 bundles. Okay, bee inside of honeycomb, inside of black. Okay, so I'm gonna count these off. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one layer. 1, 2, throw everything, see? Everything sticks. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, exactly what I need. So 6 for the top layer, 6 for the bottom layer. That other one that I used for examples of do's and don'ts on the ribbon was my 13th in this kit. Lots of fuzz today. Goodness. Okay. So now we bring our base back, and with the mesh we had the pipe cleaners horizontal and the mesh vertical. In this case we're going to have the pipe cleaners vertical because the ribbon's going to go in horizontal. Okay. So you're going to take your first ribbon bundle and open it up. And the crease tells you where your center is, and you're going to gather up the center and make an inverted V. So we're going to gather it up in our index and thumb. Take your fingers and bring it down into an inverted V. Why is this important? Because when we put the ribbon in the pipe cleaner, we want as much of the ribbon to face the outside of the wreath as possible so that we can see it. We don't want all this ribbon on here, this pretty ribbon on here, and not be able to see it, right? And doing that inverted V before you put it in the pipe cleaner helps it stay out better. Now we're going to take our pipe cleaners and twist it low and tight once and then up, twisting it till we get about an inch or so of stub, I call it stub, of twist. And then we're going to cut off the excess pipe cleaner. If it lets us, there we go. And what's going to happen is we're going to take that and tuck it into the wreath so that it points down and towards the back. If you want, you can make sure it's behind the ribbon. That's fine too. Is the fray popped up? Okay. So now that we've done that, from gathering there tends to be a little bubble at the base of the ribbon. I try to make sure that's popped out. And then I'm going to position the ribbon how I want it to be as far as order. So usually what I do is I take one on the top, one there, and one there, like that. And then on the bottom layer, I usually do it opposite on the other side of the bundle. So that means I'm going to have the black out here. And don't be afraid of getting rough with it. It's in there, it's not going to go anywhere. But don't ever grab it from the end. That causes it to fray, just like with the mesh, which means you'll have to trim it, and that makes it shorter. So the less you handle the tips of the ribbon, the better. So you can do it that way. And there they are. No worries about fluffing it anymore at this point because you're going to do that at the end. You just want to make sure they're positioned as well as possible and they're going to move. Then, just like with the mesh, we skip one and we go to the next. Put your pipe cleaners vertical. I only need one. Open up your bundle. Gather it in your thumb and forefinger where that crease is in the center, and then make your inverted V. I know that position's a little awkward, but you'll get the hang of it. Put it in the pipe cleaner, tight and low one time, and then twist up to give yourself a 1-inch twist. Stub, whatever you want to call it. Cut off your excess pipe cleaner. I heard that. Tuck it under. Pop out these little bubbles at the top of the ribbon from the gathers. And bring this up like that. That's my favorite technique. I find it gets the best results. Pop out any more bubbles. This time the black goes out and the bead go up. You can put them in whatever order you want. If you're making adjustments, hold it at the pipe cleaner and never hold your ribbon at the end. Pull it from up further, skip one, and now we're going to go to this one. Pipe cleaner is vertical so that we can put the ribbon in horizontal. I also wanted to point out that this bee ribbon is directional. All of the bees are facing this way. So you're going to want to make sure that all your bees are facing the same direction. Or you can do every other. This way, this way, this way, this way. But I'm going to keep them all the same direction. Always keep an eye out for that when you have ribbon, because you don't want your ribbon to be upside down to the customer when they're looking at it. Fold it in half, make that inverted V. Put it in your pipe cleaner, nice and tight once. One, and then make that 1 inch twist. Cut the excess off. Tuck that under, pop out those bubbles from the gathers. It won't be seen so much because this is the bottom layer, but I still do it. Bring these up because I want the black there. I want the honeycomb there and the bee there. Turn the wreath. Remember, always turn the wreath to make it more comfortable for you. Don't be uncomfortable. Move it, not you so much. You'll find that at a later point I stand too. Some people do all their creating standing, all of it sitting. You do you and do what you think is comfortable. Okay, so we've done the first 3 bundles. Now we're going to go back and do the last 3 for this layer, just like we did with the mesh. We did 3 and then 3. Okay, so the bees are going that way. So I need to make sure they're the right direction. Make that V. Super tight, low once, and then twist up, making a 1 inch twist. See it? Cut off the extra. Tuck it in, pop those bubbles out of the ribbon, and then separate and fluff your ribbon the way you want it to sit. So see, now it's overlapping the ribbon next to it. Again, that'll help hold it in place. We don't want it all the way up here on the bottom layer because no one's going to see it up there. We want it where everyone can see, right? So we have that. Hold it in the center to make any adjustments. Never hold my ribbon from the edge. Okay. Move to this one, vertical pipe cleaners. Open up your, that was interesting. Okay, open up your bundle. Gather in your forefinger and thumb. Make an inverted V with your other hand. Put it in the pipe cleaner tight and low once. Twist upwards till you get an inch stub. Twist, cut off your excess. Pop out those little, tuck it in, pop out those little bubbles, and then position your ribbon. You can also pop the bubbles out as you're separating your ribbon out too, whatever you're most comfortable with. There are so many options. I'm just giving you a really basic direction. Separate it out. Don't be afraid of the ribbon. It's in there good. Just don't pull it from the edge. Last one for this layer. Putting the pipe cleaner horizontal. Open your packet. Gather up the center. Make an inverted V. Put it in the pipe cleaner. Tighten low once. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's about 8 times I twisted that to get a 1-inch snub. So 6 to 8 inches tends to get you the 1-inch nub that you're looking for. You want it enough that you can tuck it under. Either tuck it under the ribbon or tuck it under and into the mesh, okay? Pull out the black. Pull out the honeycomb. Make sure those bubbles are out. This side, we're bringing the black out front. Honeycomb in the middle and the bee on top. Okay, so now we've finished our first layer. We are going to go back now and find my clip. And we're going to do the next layer of mesh. Before we get started, we're going to pull out the pipe cleaners. We have 6. We're going to pull them out in between each piece of mesh from the bottom layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so here we are again. There's our 6 pipe cleaners. And again, we're going to fold the pipe cleaners for mesh horizontally. Okay, horizontal, horizontal, turn, make it do the work. Don't work too hard. Okay, bring that mesh back here. And we're going to go back and continue the process. Curl side of the mesh. We're back on the mesh. That bothers me a little, so I'm going to cut that excess off there, and there, and there. Okay, so curl side down. Get your cut back out and your ruler. You're going to clip at 5 inches because this is 10-inch mesh. Turn the mesh around. Find your 5 inches and gather. Up the center, trying to stay as close to the center as possible, using that clip at the top to be your gauge, helping you stay in the center. Small gathers into your thumb and forefinger. Get to that clip. The clip off, holding it loosely to make sure you've got a nice round circle going on. Okay, then you come over to the pipe cleaner. Put that mesh in the pipe cleaner vertically. Twist tight and low 3 times. 1, 2, 3. The importance of keeping it tight and low is if it's going on a storm door, in between a storm door and your regular door, outside cut edge over inside cut edge, outside cut edge over inside cut edge. There's so much mesh in here now. Everything's sticking to each other, huh? Okay, so I'm going to curl the edges first because this one is just being difficult. Okay, so that's a little off, so I'm going to grab that piece underneath holding the pipe cleaner. I'm going to grab it and pull it out a little bit more so it's more even. But always, always remember, the most important side is this side. This is the side that's going to be seen, if at all. But you can see how it's starting to cover up everything underneath. Again, we're going to skip this pipe cleaner and skip over to the next one. These are free. Okay, we're skipping that one. We're moving on to this one. Another piece of mesh. Curl side down. This is beautiful mesh. it feels really good, and it's going to hold up to the elements really well. Okay, ruler. "10 inches wide, so 5 inches is our center again." Turn it around. Find your center. This time I'm gonna use the fold in half technique to find my center, place my finger there, and gather up the center. Using 2 hands, loosely gathering it, going up the center towards that clip, and your thumb and forefinger. And we pull that clip off, holding it loosely still, and make sure we have a circle that looks nice and round. Putting it into the horizontal pipe cleaner vertically. Mesh goes in vertically, pipe cleaners are horizontal. Tighten low 3 times. Twist. 1, 2, 3. We got a little fray hanging out over here. We'll get rid of you. Now we're going to take that outside cut edge over that inside cut edge. Outside cut edge on this side. Over inside cut edge, and whew. What happened here? Hold it from the pipe cleaner. There we go, because that was way off. See, it's still, every once in a while we get one with an attitude. We gotta make some adjustments, right? Because it didn't look like that in my hand. So we're looking at this edge, and that side's way out. I'm gonna grab it from the inside, not from the outside. I'm going to show you what happens if I pull it from the outside. If I pull it from the outside, it can, I don't know if you can see that. See how it separates right there? If you pull too hard on it from the outside, that's the kind of stuff that happens, all right? We don't want that, right? Okay. So back to this. We've done that one. We're going to skip that one and come over here to this one. Another piece of mesh, curl side down, get that ruler out, clip it at 5 inches, turn it around, okay, get that fray off, fold. I'm going to do the fold in half this time. So there it is again, fold, 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 up, 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 down the center. Oh, my clip came off. By this time you should be able to get it without the clip, but I always use it no matter what because I don't want to make a mistake. All right, we did that one, so skip that one. We're coming into this one. On the final 3 pieces of mesh, so vertically in the horizontal pipe cleaner, tighten low 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Up in the air. Get that little fray. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Okay. So let's get that positioned right. Curl the outside edge. How's that look? Nice and round. Yep. This is not very round right there, but it's not going to be seen because there's going to be a sign over it, so I'm not particularly worried. On the final 3 pieces, I'm going to show you the way I gather. I find it's easier for me to do it this way, so we're going to do it my way on the last 3. Curl side down. Okay. We're still going to use the ruler. We're still going to find our 5 inches. We're going to still turn it around. I'm going to find my center this way, but I'm going to use one hand here and one to hold above after I get started. Get about there, I hold it, and I can gather it all in one hand. The reason I do this is not on every ruffle, but when you get to the mesh that's further down the roll, see. Further down in the roll, when you buy the roll of mesh, the curls are much tighter in the mesh and they fight you more. So when I can hold it there, it doesn't start rolling again. Either that or put your phone or something heavier, and I'll do that in the next one to show you to hold it down so you're not fighting with it when you're trying to ruffle that up in your hands. So in the pipe cleaner horizontally, you put the mesh in vertically, 2, 3 times tight and low. Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Got a piece of fray there, right off. All right, curl these outside edges and see how it looks. Yeah, okay. Side, so that's done. So this one, the pipe cleaner is horizontal. Grab a piece of mesh. But yeah, as you get further into the mesh, the curls are tighter. Where on the outside, they're bigger like this. So when you get into the inside, it tends to curl up like that more when you're trying to gather the mesh. That's why I find it to be so important, number one, to measure and put your clip at 5 inches, because that gives it a little bit of weight. Turn it around. See how curly that is? Sometimes I'll lay clippers or I'll lay my phone up there to hold it in place till I get to that point. Gives it weight. Find my 5 inches, and then I can gather it up and go towards it, or I can bring it down towards me as I'm gathering it. You're not fighting the mesh when you have something holding it down up there. Like you would if you didn't. I hope that makes sense. Okay, get that in there. Horizontal pipe cleaners, vertical mesh. I love this Wreath. Tight and low 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Get them up and out of the way. Take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Ooh, got fray. And that fell off. The outside edge looks nice and round, but I want it to be more uniform, so I'm going to hold it by the pipe cleaners, never grabbing it at the edge. Bring this out just a little bit more so these edges match up a little bit better. There we go. Cut that. Put that there. All right, all good. How's that look? Yep. A lot of the mechanics of it all, the cut edges and everything, are going to be disguised with the ribbon tails and the sign as well. So don't spend all your time on that, making it, don't let it take all your time. It's not necessary. So here's my last piece. I'm going to put my clip at 5 inches. Turn it around, unroll it because it's curled side down. Find my ruler, find my 5 inches, and gather into my thumbs with my 4 fingers and the rest of my fingers crawling up the center, staying as centered as possible. Bring it down towards you, headed for that clip. Take the clip off. Keep that as circular as possible. Keeping it loosely in those 2 fingers. Taking the pipe cleaners horizontally. Put the mesh in vertically, right on the center as possible. Tight and low twist. 1, 2, 3. I got a piece of string. Okay. Take that outside cut edge over that inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over that inside cut edge. Make any adjustments you need by holding the pipe cleaners and curl the ends as need be. Okay. Now, on the first layer, we put the ribbon in next. On the top layer, I like to put the sign in so that the ribbon sits slightly over the sign. It's entirely up to you. You can put it in the ribbon now, or you can put it in the sign now. I'm going to put the sign in now. So I'm going to stand up so I can get a good perspective of my wreath. Okay. And determine which two pipe cleaners are going to be my 12 o'clock and my 6 o'clock, referring to a clock. The other two on each side are going to be folded out and away. So this is my 12 o'clock. This is my 6 o'clock. And that helps me find the center of my wreath. I pull all my pipe cleaners out from the back. This is dry now, if you're doing it on your own. And you're going to center it in the center of your wreath. The 12 and the 6 o'clock pipe cleaner are important for that because that's going to help you find the center of your sign as well. Looks like the center of this sign is right in here. So we want to make sure, looks like that. Okay. That looks right. Yep. Okay. And that is where this little blue embroidery needle comes in. We're done with this. We're done with the ruler. This is how I pull the pipe cleaners from the sign through the mesh to the back side. You can do it without, but it can be challenging. And I don't like to be challenged unless it has to be. So what I do is I put the embroidery needle through the wreath by holding it up a little bit, just under where the sign is, making sure that I don't go through any of the ribbon tails. If any of the ribbon tails are in the way, I make sure I pull them out to the outside of the wreath because we don't want to put a hole in the ribbon. Take a piece of the pipe cleaner and put it through the needle, folding the top of the pipe cleaner around the needle and pull it through the frame to the back. Once we get it all the way through the wreath, we take the needle off. And when we attach a sign, the recommended pattern is to go from one corner to one corner, one corner to one corner, so that we don't have a cockeyed sign. Like right now, this is sitting at an extreme angle. We want it to be flat, but not pulled all the way into the wreath. So now I'm going to take this under here, because we're doing it this way, and then we're going to do it this way. So I'm putting that in through the mesh, slightly under the sign so that we don't see the pipe cleaner once we feed it through. Put the pipe cleaner into the needle, fold the top of the pipe cleaner over the needle so it doesn't come out. They make longer needles. I would recommend using longer needles. This one isn't very long. When I'm doing the bigger wreaths, it can be challenging. So where did the needle go? Pull it through. Okay. Where'd it go? Okay, so now I have the first two in. So I'm going to hold it by the sign, lift up the wreath and turn it over, holding the sign where I want it to be. And now I'm going to wrap the two pipe cleaners I fed through around one of the wreath's rings, the wreath frame's rings, till it's completely gone. I try to do it at where one of the pipe cleaners is if it's appropriately located. A lot of times, based on how the signs are made, it works. Come over here and do this. Tighten it up a little bit by pushing down on the wreath, but not too much because you don't want it so buried in the wreath that it doesn't look good, and it can cause the wreath sign to bend and bow, and we don't want that. So now we turn it back over, not holding the sign anymore because it's securely in there. Make sure it's where we want it to be. So I adjusted that a little bit by hand. That's why you don't do it too tight. Okay, now we're going to do the final two. Put the needle in, put the pipe cleaner through the needle and fold that in half. Lift the wreath, pull it through. Where'd it go? There it is. Pull it through and pull it off the needle. Turn it. Remember, we're always making the wreath do the work, as much of the work as possible. Now, since we did that one, we're going to do this last one here. Put that in there. Put our pipe cleaner through the needle. Fold into the top so it stays on the needle. Pull it through the back. All right, put that needle to the side. That should look about right. How's that? Let's turn it around. Okay, there. So let me sit back down. Now that I'm sure it's centered, flip it back over and wrap the pipe cleaners around the frame. And after I do that, it's usually when I check the back of the wreath to see if there's any frayed mesh I need to cut away. Make sure that's on there nice and tight. And when you get to the end of the pipe cleaner, you always want to make sure the tip of the pipe cleaner is facing down towards the sign. And the reason for that is the last thing you want to do is scratch your door. Yes, that would not be good. Wrap this last one around the frame. I try to make sure the pipe cleaners are the same color as the mesh, but it's not always the case. Just make sure you do it nice and neatly if this is something for somebody else, especially if they have a glass insert on their door. That way it looks neat. Let's see, there's a spray, there's a piece there. I think that's it, because we've been cleaning it as we go. Oh, there's one there. Got it. All right. So now it's time to put the final ribbon on. And yes, some of this ribbon is snuck up under the mesh, but we address that at the end. So this is even, it's not bowing or so pulled in that it looks bad. All right, so let's get these last 6 bundles. How many we got here? I want to make sure I have them all. 1, 2, that's where that came from. I'm telling you, everything sticks to everything. I usually do, I make it a habit to do the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock ribbon bundles last because I like them to lay on top of the other bundles. Again, it's about dimension and design. So I'm going to do the sides and then I'll do the center, the 6 and 12 o'clock. Now remember again that the bees are directional. They all face this way. So what I'm going to do on the top layer is they're going to be facing this way here, facing this way here, facing this way here, this way here. Every other, so that I have the pattern that way. Okay, so I got my crease in the center. I've got my ribbon centered. I'm going to gather it up the center. This time we're not doing a V, an inverted V, because we're taking the pipe cleaners horizontally. We're putting, I said I was doing the sides. Wasn't paying attention. Doing the pipe cleaners vertically. This time with the ribbon goes in horizontal, tight and low, 2 times to 3 times. 1, 2. I'm only going to do it 2. Get them up and out of the way for now. And I am going to pop those bubbles out of the ribbon down here from gathering it. And I'm going to separate out my ribbon, kind of like a starburst fashion. Okay. Get those bubbles out. And this time I'm not going to do opposites. I'm going to do both of the blacks up next to the sign. Get that ribbon spread out. It's got a mind of its own. I run my fingers over the ribbon so it kind of rounds it. That's the nice thing too as well with the wide ribbon, which is the only thing we use on a storm door wreath. Most wreaths for that matter. Non-wired ribbon is really for accents only. So there is the first ruffle. No, ribbon bundle. That's okay. So we're going to go here, put that pipe cleaner vertically. Now since the bees are on the outside here, I'm going to put the bees on the inside here, and then I'm also going to turn them. That's entirely up to you, but it does take a little extra planning. So see, the bees are going that way. So now this time they're going to go to my left. I'm going to gather it up the center. Put it in the pipe cleaner. Tighten low 2 to 3 times. I'm doing 2 on this one. Okay. So since the bees were on the outside, on this one the bees are going to be on the inside. Get those pipe cleaners up and out of the way. going to bring this one out here, the honeycomb in the center, and that there. I'm going to get the bubbles out and run my finger over the ribbon to give it a little curl. Now you wouldn't put this much curl in it if you're putting it behind a storm door, but I'm showing you what you can do with it, okay? So then remember I said I don't do the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock ribbon bundles until last because I want it to sit on top of the other ribbon. So I come back over here. So I want to repeat this here because it's every other. So this set up will be the same here and here, okay? This will be here, here, and here, okay? Hopefully that helps you understand what I'm doing. So the bees are going to need to go, yep, the bees are going to need to face this way. I'm going to ruffle, put it in the vertical pipe cleaner, twist twice in this case, 1, 2, nice and tight. So on here we're going to pop the bubble out, and I'm gonna put these out of the way. Black towards the center, honeycomb in the middle, and the bees to the outside edge. Lift these up, black to the middle, pull the honeycomb out here, and pull the bees out here. Curl it with your fingers. Okay, now vertical pipe cleaners. Open your bundle. So the bees are going to go the opposite direction as that. So they're going that way. Center your ribbon, gather it, put it in your bundle, in your tight 1, 2, lift it out of the way. This time the bees are going to face the inside, so the black's going to come out to the outside edge. Honeycomb and then the bees. Run your fingers over that. Get those bubbles out. So black to the outside edge. Remembering never to grab your ribbon from the very ends. Grab it from somewhere up, because otherwise you'll fray it and you'll have to adjust the length, and then it, yeah. Okay, so now we can do the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock ribbon bundles. So this goes this way, that goes the other. Okay, so this needs to match this one. Okay, so that needs to turn. See? Okay. Put that in there, and it's going to overlap the ribbon bundles on both sides nicely. 1, 2. So the bees are on the inside, so the black is on the inside on this one. Okay, these out of the way. Do the same thing on this side, black to the center, honeycomb, and then the bee. And we'll get up at the end to make sure that they're probably a little cockeyed, but that's okay. Now we're going to come back down to the 6 o'clock. Put our last bundle in. So this bundle of the bees should be the same direction as that one. Gather your ribbon. Put it in there. Vertical pipe cleaners. Horizontal ribbon. So the black's up. So on this one, the black is down. Bring that black up. Bring the honeycomb to the center, and you have it all spread out like a starburst. Okay. Black down. Bees up, honeycomb in the center. Make sure those bubbles are out. See how it lays nicely over the bundles around? Okay. Now, with your kit, the next step is to address the pipe cleaners. I lost my bees. Let me get them out. You do not get the bees unless you purchase the finished wreath, but I want to show you what you can do. Okay? These bees, like I said, they were either purchased at Hobby Lobby or at Buttons Galore and More Online. You need buttons that have a plastic shank on the back. They're called buttons with shanks or shank buttons, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed them over the pipe cleaners to hide the pipe cleaners that are left. But in the regular kit that you're going to receive, and I'll leave links for Hobby Lobby and Buttons Galore, so that if you do want to purchase the buttons to go with it, you can. I can't remember their price, and in this world they're changing all the time. So if you go with just what's in the kit, you have these pipe cleaners. On the bottom layer, you twisted them and you cut off the excess and tucked it into the wreath. You can do that on the top layer, but you need to twist the pipe cleaner more so that it's longer, so you can tuck it under the ribbon and not into the mesh, because that doesn't look very finished at all. Or you can do the other technique that is very popular with me, where you take a dowel, a pen or a pencil, something thin like that, and you wrap your pipe cleaner around it, making these little curlicues. That gives it another dimension as well. See what I did there? You just wrap it around, twisting it around the dowel so you get back down to the base. That gives it some dimension. You can pull it out and make it like almost look like a spring if you want. Or you can keep them tight and low. That's one technique. Okay. Another technique, like I said, is to twist them in an upward fashion. Give yourself a couple of inches. Then cut off the excess right here. That's not part of the twist. Let's pretend that I've done that. And then take the rest of it and tuck it behind your ribbon tail and refluff your ribbon tail, and then you just have this little bitty stub. You can do that. I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to undo that, because this is another way to embellish your wreath without adding to the depth of the wreath. Okay, so let me get that one back up. Untwist these guys. Okay, what I'm going to do after I've done the 2 twists for the pipe cleaner, I'm going to take one of these bees and I'm going to put the pipe cleaner on one side through the shank, bring the bee all the way down to the bottom, and then do the same thing as I did on the bottom. I'm going to twist it up into about a 1-inch stub, maybe closer to 2. And I'm going to cut the excess twist above the twist off. And I'm going to position my bee so he's not upside down, first of all. And I'm going to hide that pipe cleaner back behind the ribbon. So we got that little bee there. And then I'm going to readjust my ribbon, not holding it from the tips, just holding it from that. Let me go in tight so you can see this bee. See it? Isn't that cute? Just another way to embellish your wreath. You can do that. You can do the twists and hide the pipe cleaner. You can do the twisting up and hiding underneath so you only see a stub. There's a lot of different techniques that you can do, but this is one of my favorite. It adds an extra little something and it hides the mechanics of those pipe cleaners, and they're so cute. Okay, let's go back out. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do that with the other, take my glasses off for a minute. other 6. Now these are these all the same? They are all the same. 1, 2, 4. I'm still missing one. Where is it? There it is. He's hiding in the trash pile. See why it's important to get this trash all out of the way? Ugh. All right. The other thing you need to remember is the angle of the bee. You don't want to do it exactly the same up here or he'll be upside down. We want them to all be right side up. So this one goes on here. Put that on there nice and low. That's why I only twist it twice before I put the button on when I use buttons. We're twisting it up to create a nice big twist that we can tuck underneath of the ribbon. We'll try either the top or the bottom under the ribbon. Tuck that under there. Fix your bee so he's not hidden. Get that ribbon all in place. Pop that out. So we want to make sure over here that our bee is going like that. So that he's facing upright. Got him on there. Twist it up to create that stub. Cut the excess pipe cleaner off. Tuck it under the ribbon so no one can see the stub. Spread it back out. Make sure our bee is positioned correctly. Turn the wreath as you go so it does all the work. Put that through there. Through that shank. I've used buttons without shanks around Valentine's Day that just have the holes in them, but I didn't care for it as much as I do this. This just hides all the mechanics this way. That should make sense. A little bit more. Woo! Flying pipe cleaners. I'm going to tuck it above because definitely no one will see that's the top of the wreath. No one will be looking down the top. It's important to get all those mechanics hidden because your customers, if it's for a customer or you or your guests or your friends, are going to see what's going on the bottom and the sides. So you don't want any of that stuff looking unfinished. Here's another bee. Put it down on the pipe cleaner. Tight and low, and then twist up. Tuck that pipe cleaner under the ribbon. Readjust your ribbon. Okay, got one more to go. And this project will be finished. Okay, huh. When I get home, I'm going to change this bee out because it is slightly different from the rest. I didn't catch that. I've had kits of buttons where you have 3 of one style, 3 of another, and then I just do every other like I do with how I lay the ribbon. That's another tip for you. Put that off. Tuck that under. Okay, so now I'm going to stand up for one more good look at this wreath. Now remember that this wreath kit does not come with the buttons with the bees, okay? This was just to show you an option of what else you can do to add to it. All right, we're getting this all placed. Then we go around the bottom. You can do the bottom first and the top last, or vice versa. We want all that ribbon out here so everyone can see it. We lift the mesh from the top layer out so that we can handle the ribbon without it catching on everything. Make sure that it's out there for the world to see. Because like I said, it likes to go hide from working on the wreath. Okay. Get all those curls out of it. I'm going to bring this down a little bit more because I want to cover a little bit more of the mesh. It's entirely up to you how you design your wreath. You can do the inverted V with the ribbon like you did on the lower level if you want to make sure that your ribbon comes out to the side more. That's entirely up to you. I think that's it. I'll leave it alone on the top. It's covering a little bit of the sign. Tuck that mesh in. Okay, and there we go. Well, there you have it, a completed wreath with the additional buttons on it. Remember, the buttons with the bees do not come in the kit. They're just an idea of another way you can embellish the wreath without making it any thicker than it already is. And like I said, I believe a couple of times, I purchased the bee buttons either from Hobby Lobby or from Buttons and More Galore. I forget how you say it. I will put the link in the comments down below in the description, as well as the link to my shop, my Etsy shop. And if you would like to follow or subscribe to my YouTube page, it would be greatly appreciated. That way you'll know when any new tutorials come out. I do tutorials about twice a week. One is a wreath where you can purchase the kit to make it, and one is usually an item I'm making for my shop or for a custom order. Now keep in mind, this wreath will be for sale with the bee buttons on it. If you're just looking to purchase a wreath, it will be in the shop either as of the video posting or shortly afterwards. Any comments, any questions, anything you have interest about, reach out, give me a follow, like I said, and a subscription. Also, if you can follow me on Facebook, I would really appreciate it. That'll also give you more information as to what I'm doing and where I'm doing it and how I'm doing it and all the things. Once again, we appreciate you, I appreciate you, and thanks for joining me today while I did this tutorial on this just so cute bee wreath. I love it.